Howdy fellas, and welcome to Beloved by Toni Morrison. Memory is rarely a linear story, but a winding, circular, symbolic process. In this novel, Morrison lets us as readers share in the tough process of dealing with the wounds of slavery. The protagonists are Sethe, a former slave who now lives in Cincinnati with just 1.5 of her 4 children. The one is Denver, who is around 18 now, a shy girl who doesn't leave the house. Then there is Paul D, who used to be on the same plantation as Sethe in Kentucky called Sweet Home. And then there is Beloved, who just pops up one day, and she's, well, that's what the story is all about. Morrison published her book in 1987, and it is inspired by the real story of the African-American slave Margaret Garner. It is set in 1873, 8 years after the Civil War is over, and we find ourselves in 124 Bluestone Road, Cincinnati, Ohio. This is really a 2-story building, just in case you didn't realize it. And it is inhabited by Sethe, Denver, and, well, a ghost. Sethe comes home from work and finds Paul D. Paul, come on in! And when he steps over the threshold, he goes, "Wow, what evil is that?" Because he senses the ghost. It's not evil, it's just sad. Baby Suggs's ghost? No, my first daughter. But he's a brave man and he gets in and she goes, 18 years, you know anything about Hallie? That was her husband at Sweet Home. No. Here, Denver, this is Paul D. And she doesn't like him from the start. We got a ghost in here. Just like at Sweet Home. Ha 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 ha. And she goes, why don't you stay all night and talk with Mum about Sweet Home? Denver, I'm sorry, I can't go on. Nobody speaks to us. Everybody hates me. Maybe you should move out. No, I got a tree on my back and a ghost in my house, but I won't run away again. And when Denver's gone, he goes, what tree? And she turns around and he undresses her back and sees that it is disfigured by a tree-shaped scar from a cruel whipping. And when they get tender, the ghost shakes the house and Paul goes, you want to fight? Come on! And he smashes a table around and destroys the furniture and the ghost seems to be gone. So they spend the night together, and on the next morning, Paul tries to repair the damage. Denver is a little different, eh? Don't you worry, she's charmed. She survived me running away from the plantation when she was about to be born. She even survived when schoolteacher got here. He got here? Why didn't he take you back? I was not going. Now, schoolteacher was the owner of Sweet Home after nice Mr. Garner, the former owner, had died. And Denver is no less hostile than the night before. So how long are you going to hang around? Hang around? Denver! But he goes, listen, let's go to the carnival, the 3 of us, okay? And this is what they do. They go to a fair, which is very modest, but for the 3 of them, a fantastic event. And when they get home, Sethe thinks, oh, look at the shadow, 3 people holding hands. And she thinks that maybe they've got a future together. But when they get to the house, a woman is sitting outside on a tree stump and she goes, look! They take her in. And she's kind of strange. She drinks a lot of water and Paul says, so what's your name? She says, Beloved. Oh, a nice name. What? And because the young woman is feverish, Denver now looks after her day and night. You gonna keep her? Well, Denver likes her and it's no trouble. I bring home food from the restaurant I work at. Something funny about that girl. And he's right. Beloved knows things that she really can't know. So, where are your diamonds, Oh, my earrings! The earrings Mrs. Garner gave me when I got married to Hallie. They took them away. And now Sethe tells that old story and Beloved just hangs on her lips, feeds on those stories, just like Denver feeds on Beloved's attention. And flattered by Beloved's desire for her stories, Sethe's memories that were pent up for a long time begin to trickle and flow in 124. Paul D is excluded from this female triangle. How did you get here? I walked a long walk. Then why are your shoes on you? Paul, leave it! And Beloved nearly chokes on a raisin. I look after you in my room. Why do you fight her? I never mistreated a woman in my life. Just like Hallie. Hallie left me. No, he just broke down. And in memory, they return to Sweet Home. Just before Sethe ran away, she was tortured by 2 white boys. She was breastfeeding at the time and they milked her like an animal. He must have seen this and it broke him. When I saw him the last time, he had smeared butter all over his face. Did you speak to him? No, I had a bit in my mouth. The bit was a perverse torturing device, an iron gag tied to the slave's mouth that prevented them from speaking and even swallowing. Sorry, I didn't want to tell you this. I didn't want to hear it. The pain of memory, but how necessary to speak and to listen. Upstairs, Beloved wants to hear about Denver's birth, and she obliges her in telling, well, my mom nearly died, but first a white girl helped her, and then she gave birth to me in a boat on the River Ohio, and a lot of people from the black community here helped her to get to baby Suggs. And now Seth takes the girls to a clearing in the forest where baby Suggs used to lead the community in dance, in song. She spoke to them and she kind of healed the wounds that everyone, the former slaves, were carrying around with them. And she now talks to her spirit. Stroke my neck, baby Suggs, like you used to. And she goes, oh, what is it, Mum? Somebody choked me. And Beloved caresses her neck and even kisses her. And she goes, you're too old for this. Now it is Goldie's turn again to rememory, as Morrison calls it, and he goes back to Alfred, Georgia. Well, I got there after trying to kill the man school teacher sold me to. 86 days of living in a cage, sledgehammer, sexual abuse and arbitrary, incredible violence until we managed to escape, and then I wandered for years. And this wandering seems to be taken up by Beloved, who moves him around the house. Oh, I can't sleep in Seth's bedroom anymore. I'll sleep downstairs in the kitchen. No, I'll sleep in baby Suggs's old bedroom. No, I'll sleep outside in the cold house. And this is where he now kind of spends his nights. And one night, Beloved visits him. And he goes, what do we want? I want you to touch me inside. No! But struggle as he will, he has sex with her. And because he's ashamed and can't help himself, he wants to talk to Seth and goes, I want to talk to you. Yeah, what? I want a baby with you. What? And he's awkward because he can't confess to her. And she's awkward because she doesn't want another baby. But still they're somehow happy. And the only reaction that the girls have in common now is, make him go away. Now it is Seth's turn to rememory, namely her darkest day. 20 days after I arrived at 124, we had a huge party. The next day we were in the garden when I saw 4 white men arrive and I knew it was school teacher going to take me back. So I snatched up my 4 children and I ran to the cold house. And when school teacher opened the door, he found her eldest daughter dead and she trying to kill the other children. And he goes, shit, I can't take my property back. She's gone mad. And the sheriff pushed him aside and said, okay, it's my turn now. Come along. And he's quite nice. He takes her to prison together with Denver because she's still breastfeeding her. And this story, this terrible story, is what a neighbor, Stamp Paid, now tells Paul D. and even shows him a newspaper clipping and he goes, no, that's not her. That's not her mouth. Yeah, but she did it and you had to know it because that's why all the neighbors are avoiding her. And he doesn't believe it but takes this newspaper clipping to Seth and she admits it and goes, yes. I couldn't have them live at Sweet Home under school teacher, so I did it. I stopped him. He goes, no, your love is too thick. It didn't work. What? I mean, your boys are gone. They ran away when they were 13 years old. 1 girl dead, the other strange. You got 2 feet, not 4. And with that, comparing her to an animal, he's gone. Nonetheless, the 3 women have fun. They go skating. Afterwards, Beloved hums a song. Wait a minute. You can't know that song. I made that up for my children. I know it. And finally, Seth understands that she is really her daughter. That school teacher, he measured us and one day he told his pupils to number my animal characteristics, me, an animal. And she doesn't even tell that to Beloved. She just goes through that in her memory. And she surrenders to Beloved. She doesn't go to work anymore. She spends the little money she has on food and on fancy ribbons until they just fight all day long. And Denver and Seth are starving. The circles of memory are tightening. Beloved, she's my daughter. Beloved, she's my sister. I am Beloved and she is mine. The text, when Beloved is talking, gets more and more like poetry. Very dark, hard to understand. Just like the 3 women are more and more sinking away from sanity. Now, Denver realizes that she's got to do something or they are going to starve. So she goes to see her old school teacher and says, you got a job for me? No, but I can help. And the help, first of all, is food, and then the women of the community are gathering to exorcise the spirit of Beloved because they understand that's what it is that is haunting 124. And they gather around in front of the house and start singing. Beloved and Seth are standing on the porch when Mr. Bodwin, the landlord and benefactor of Seth, enemy of slavery, steps by and she mistakes him for school teacher because he's white and tries to attack him with an ice pick, but the women of the community bring her down and prevent her from killing him. And after this, Beloved is gone. The novel ends with Denver growing up, going to work, and Paul D visiting Seth, who doesn't stand up anymore, who is just lying in bed. You need to get up. I'm tired. She left me. Don't cry. We got more yesterday than anybody, we need some kind of tomorrow. And so he stays to look after her. The power of memory can be like dark magic, especially if it's memories like those of the horrors of slavery. Toni Morrison has spelled it out here, how silence conjures up ghosts and how they are dispelled by a collective exorcism. It is the duty of our societies to go through this ritual of memory again and again, the memory of slavery, of the Holocaust, of misogyny and all the other crimes our fathers have committed, to protect ourselves from them in the present time. And this, dear congregation, was Beloved by Toni Morrison.
Vielen Dank.